You are tuned in to What Up Baltimore online radio. Please note that the views and opinions expressed on this channel are of the host and not of Lady J Media. And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, What Up Baltimore TV. And if you really don't want to miss any of the shows, hit that notification bell and you'll get a message every time we come on. Now, we got it from here, so sit back, relax, and stay tuned.
I know you do. I know you do, because that's what I do. I give you that kind of love that makes you come back. I'm your pusher, baby. I'm your pusher.
Hey, little black boy, let me holler at you for a minute. I was once in your place. You should respect what I say. Some of the things I'm about to tell you just may save your life in the world right now. Much is right. Little black boy, you're gonna see and experience all sorts of things, but don't let your mind be locked in the chain. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Spitfire Poetry Shutdown. I am your host, John Hansboro. Today is October 18th, 2023. We are at a special time tonight because we have a special guest on the show this evening. We're just going to get right into it now. Before I announce this young lady, she is like family. She's been on here numerous times. I've been ever since I first started following her. I've never stopped. I just follow what she does. Very, very graceful, just amazing young lady. I want to introduce you all to Tarika Holland, everybody. Tarika Holland. How you doing, sis? How you been?
I am so good. How you doing?
I can't complain. I can't, you know.
Right.
I want to sometimes, but I won't. I can't.
I feel that.
So it's been a minute. I was just saying before we started, I didn't even realize how long I've been doing this. And I think I've had you on the first time. It had to be in 2021.
Right. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And it's just, I've been following you ever since then. I started following you because I was following another young lady. Shout out to Ava Smith. I was following her, and she was following you, and that's how I started following you. Like, wow, who's this young lady here?
Right.
So tell us how you've been, Tarika. What you been up to?
I've been so good, man. I love milestones like this and just making connections like this, because I can pivot where I was in life the last time we was on the show.
Right.
And I was definitely in a very testing season of my life. I had a lot of family things going on. I had a lot of personal things going on. So now I'm just in a very beautiful spot in life. Things are a lot calmer. I feel as though I'm in a season of harvest, like reaping all of those good things, because I stayed the course and I went through those dark times and that dark season. Career-wise, I am flourishing. I've done some very great things since the last time we spoke. And I just feel really good about myself and like in love with myself, in love with life. So I'm doing good, and that feels so good, especially because I know exactly where I was at in life last time we spoke together. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I'm super grateful. I'm super excited, and I'm happy to be back on the show.
You know what? That's awesome. And I do remember, I remember you talking about the things that you were dealing with. And your glow is totally different now.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
I was saying, I was about to say earlier, I feel like I was like you just grew up after a few years that fast, like into a young lady, like you were a young teenager when I first met you, seemed like, and now you just look like you're so focused on what you
yeah,
want to do though, Tarika. Really. I always admired how hard you work, and I remember how you talked about going through things a few years back, and
hmm
how you were fighting every day just to stay the course. You know what I
yeah.
mean? And I love what I see now is just the fruits of that, and it's very refreshing to see. Very.
Thank you so much.
So you wear so many hats. You're an actress. You're a dancer,
Mm.
singer, poet. Do you just
Everybody be snitching on my singing. I'm like, I ain't never.
you never
But yeah,
sang?
I do sing mostly for like musicals and things like that. Nobody really here. It's like it's one of those things like if you know, you know.
Right.
But it's just so funny when people say that. I'll be like, oh God.
So how long have you been into art period? Like how long has that been something that you've been serious about?
Yeah, so I feel like art's always been a part of my life as a kid. I just didn't know that it was a thing that you could pursue as a career. And so I went to Davidson Fine Arts, which is a fine arts school here in my hometown, Augusta, Georgia. I first discovered Davidson, the school. I was in second grade, and we took a field trip to the Black History show there. And I was like, yo, wow, they're dancing, they're singing, they're doing all of these things. And I'm like, oh my God, I want to do that. So I was in second grade, like super duper determined. I was like, I'm going to have good grades. I'm going to do the right thing so that when it's time for me to audition, I can go and be in the school. And lo and behold, I think I was in like fourth or fifth grade. I auditioned, I got in. Believe it or not, I entered Davidson as a visual art student. I wanted to draw, paint, charcoal, all of that was my thing. But I got recommended to take ballet, which was super shocking to me. I never thought of myself as a dancer. And they're like, hey, you should take ballet. And I'm like, okay, you know. So I took it and I fell in love. I was like, oh my God, I love this. And I took ballet. I got into modern when I was in seventh grade. And I was like, wow, I really want to do this when I was 13. So that's how long I've been serious about it. And it's special that you mentioned that I'm in my 10th year being serious as an artist. I'm 22, if anybody didn't know. And I turned 23 in January of next year. So I'm in this 10th year. And then I'm entering my 11th year as an artist. So it's just super special this year. In 10 years, I feel like I've built a very solid foundation for myself. And I'm just excited I'm excited to keep going. You know, I feel like this is only the beginning in a lot of ways. And yeah.
Would you say your discipline came from the school that you went the fine art school that you went to? Because my wife went to a fine art school here in Baltimore, and it's the same type of like energy of like, you know, when it's time to work, I'm serious, I need to do what I need to do. And that's, you know, how did you know, is that what kept you so focused and giving you this like passion to be just focused on what you want to do and just make sure that you complete whatever you try to accomplish? Like, where did that come from?
1000%. Part of it, I will say, I credit that to Davidson. It's difficult having to balance. You have rigorous academics, and then you have your art. So you have all of these classes. You have rehearsal after school. It feels like a work day. Like you there like 12 plus hours sometimes. That's part of it, and also my family. You know, I've seen them make something out of nothing. I've seen them grind 2-3 jobs sometimes. You know, we always been hustlers. Like we're gonna go get it. We're going to go make sure we're okay. So yeah, my family and also Davidson having to balance those academics, having to balance the art itself, and just my love for it. You know, I love it, and I also understood that right away. It wasn't always just in the accomplishments and the accolades. It was in the journey. It was in the process. So those like little tedious things that we all hate to do. Like, don't get it twisted. I love what I do, but there's certain things of it I'm like, I really wish I didn't have to do this. But I know that those lessons and that wisdom and those gems that I need for those higher heights comes within those tedious things that we're not necessarily too fond of. So yes, Davidson definitely got me right. Sometimes in the best ways, sometimes not in so good ways. But there's a lesson and something to take from everything. You know what I'm saying? So
it definitely is. It definitely is. What would you say you like more, acting or dancing?
That's a good question. Oh my God, everybody always makes me choose. Right now I'm in a weird spot with dancing. Like, you see me dance a lot less. And when I was at Davidson, dance was kind of like my pathway, like my fine art. But then, you know, as I got older and I got into like high school, my junior, senior year, I kind of went back to the theater route because I did those classes in middle school, and it kind of brought me back to that multifaceted kind of pathway I always wanted. But I always felt like I had to choose one, which wasn't true, but life brought me back around to it. So right now you see me dancing a lot less. Last time I danced, I'll talk about that a little later, was in a play called Our Love Story. So that was kind of like my little return or whatever. But right now I feel like I've really been loving acting just because I always have. I did some classes with Anthony Page in Atlanta some of last year and early this year. And I feel like those classes truly just sculpted me into a better artist, and it added to that work ethic that I have. He brought so much out of me, and just where I was in life, man, like I was just dealing with so much, trying to heal, trying to cope, to be able to use all of those emotions in this healthy and beautiful way was just so great. And even after those classes, after I wrapped the classes, when I did Our Love Story, just seeing the difference that it made, like that time I spent with my script, my nuances and my choices as an actor, it was just like, wow, this was so worth it. You know what I'm saying? So right now I've been loving acting. Obviously, spoken word kind of never goes anywhere. You know, dance kind of comes and goes, but my heart is still in it. Right now I teach as well.
Okay.
So literally before this, I was like in the car, like, okay, I gotta go be on the podcast. So right now I teach ballet and contemporary, and I think that has just been so beautiful, just passing on what I've learned and passing on my love for dance to my students has just been so beautiful. And of course I love modeling. I haven't did a shoot in a while just because I've had so many other things. But I love everything. I really, truly love everything that I do. And I'm just grateful. You know, God trusted me with these gifts. Like, let's just call it what it is. He trusted me to be able to do all of these things. So lots of gratitude for that.
Now, would you say any of them are therapeutic for you? Like, spoken word and poetry for me is therapeutic. It really helps me to get out some emotions, any type of emotion that I'm dealing with. Does acting do that for you? Because I'm not on your level, but I've done a couple little stage plays, right?
Yeah.
Shout out to Woundworks Productions. It's these wonderful mothers that do healing through acting on stage for children, for anybody, really, anybody that had trauma. And I did find that sometimes doing someone's like doing a different role that somebody that I wouldn't be, or reciting a speech that someone else wrote, I was able to like put whatever I was dealing with into that. Like if it needed to be passionate, I'm passionate anyway, but if it needed to be like really, aggressive, you know what I mean? I would just dive into that. What part of it would you say is therapeutic for you, if any of it?
Yeah, it definitely is. Specifically when I was in those classes, I wasn't in my dark space, but I was really trying to like fight out of it. You know, I feel like during that time, it was really that fight. Like, I don't want to be in this case anymore, you know?
Right.
Sometimes you kind of lay there and you let it just take over you. But at this time, I was like, okay, So I felt a lot of heavy feelings like resentment and anger and bitterness and just all those heavy feelings that I'm believe it or not, it's ironic. Like I don't really show my feelings as much. I know I'm an artist, and I know you're like, well, through your art says otherwise. But as a person, I'm a very like I don't like those heavier feelings, especially like anger, bitterness, and da da da. So I tend to bottle them up. And so when I did those acting classes, it's like Anthony just bought all that right up out of me because I know what I be doing. I was playing it super safe. I was like, okay, I'm gonna perform well. That's it. Like I'm not gonna open up that box of emotions that I have.
Right.
And obviously Anthony's a super phenomenal teacher. He's also a coach. So what you see during sports, he's doing that with us with acting. So it's really pushing us and bringing it out of us. And there was one rehearsal. We did this project called Ancestral Accents where we portray Black historic figures whose stories and their contributions to history may have been deleted. So I portrayed Anna Julia Cooper. She was the fourth African American to receive her PhD. She was an educator. She was a teacher. All of those things. One of the most prominent Black scholars in America during the time. And I remember I probably was sitting in either this spot in the living room. He kind of read me, you know, being a godly or spiritual being, you're able to feel energy, da 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 da. And he just kind of told me some things about myself. And you just sit there, you're like, damn, you know? And then so he says, okay, go into essentially the monologue. And it's just like all of it just came up and out, you know? And the first time it happened, it was scary for me because it, you know what I'm saying? I have dealt with my anxiety, my depression. So all of that are real feelings, you know, especially when you're working with a more method acting approach, you know, you have to be careful because it feels so heavy and so real. The first time it happened, it was super scary for me because I was trying to forget those feelings and not deal with it. And I was alone, so I had to like call a friend, like, hey, I'm feeling some heavy feelings, like, you know, just stay with me on the phone, da 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 da. But it was therapeutic to use all of that bottled up energy to create this beautiful project. And believe it or not, something about that project too. I went to Atlanta to film the first time, right? And my footage was the only one that got messed up. So it's just like, dang it, you know? And of course he reimbursed me for like costumes, da da da. So I had to go do it all again. And I think it was a blessing in disguise because I definitely did better the first time, obviously. But it was just so amazing feeling the silence in the room and just feeling God working. Like you could just feel the, like, it was super like bringing people to tears, you know what I'm saying? And like, I'm poured, like I'm snot, Viola, like I'm in, you know what I'm saying? But that level of focus and just using those emotions, that was super therapeutic for me. Like definitely with acting, even certain characters that you play sometimes, like I've done a one act where I just played this awful, oh my God, I was terrible character. I'm not like that in real life at all. I'm super sweet, warm, all of that. But to be able to like, I have had those feelings before. I've had those thoughts before. So to be able to just use your feelings in a healthy way with acting, I think that is just super therapeutic. Poetry, spoken word, obviously that's super therapeutic. Yeah, it's basically just my thoughts and my feelings like wrapped up into something more beautiful, you know. Even modeling just confidence, you know what I'm saying? That's how I gained my confidence. When I felt insecure and I didn't like how I looked, I just would take pictures of myself, like kind of reverse psychology, you know. After a while, I began to love what I see. Even dancing right now, you know, I may not be dancing myself as much, but just teaching my kids, you know what I'm saying? Seeing those light bulbs go off, you know what I'm saying? Seeing them apply the corrections after a while and all that other stuff. Like, all of it is just all of it is therapeutic.
It's beautiful. And, you know, it's crazy because you mentioned that she didn't even really like dancing or didn't even really want to. Like, they were like, you should probably dance. And here you are now teaching it. Like, it's crazy how things work out like that. It really is. What is that? How is that feeling? Because I ain't gonna lie, I've had a couple times where I was able to speak to children, and last year I was able to read some poems out of one of my books to my youngest daughter's class.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God, like I was trying to keep from breaking down, honestly, right?
Oh,
And just being in the classroom, reading it to them, having my daughter being right there,
yeah.
just was
Oh,
something that I'll never forget. I really
right.
won't. I'll never forget. But working with children and teaching them certain things is also very fun as well. Very like refreshing to me. You know what I
It
mean?
is. It
How does
is.
that feel to you working with such young people?
Oh my God, it's super inspiring. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm grateful for the chances that I get to be, say, the star, be on
Right,
stage, da 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 da.
right.
But teaching for me, it just shows that all of this is bigger than me. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Another important thing is that I don't have a degree to teach.
Mhm.
I did a semester and a half of college. COVID kicked us out, and then life just happened and I wasn't able to finish college. So I feel like God truly, qualifies the call. You know what I'm saying? A lot of
Right,
people say that.
right.
Um, so sometimes you can feel like an imposter, like, dang, I didn't go to college for this, da 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 da. But the thing is, I've been teaching since I was 13.
Mhm.
I would TA the lower level classes. I couldn't afford training outside of school.
Mhm.
So what I would do, I would ask, hey, can I TA this class? So as I'm learning, I'm also kind of like teaching in a sense. You see what I'm saying? Being
Right,
that older example, like,
right.
okay, I already know these steps, these exercises, and I also have this other set of eyes on different bodies moving. So teaching has been super great. I was at a previous studio, and that situation kind of was bad. Everything has a season.
Mhm.
Um, and so I was hesitant to get back to teaching. I was kind of like, I don't know, da 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 da, and I was just like, I don't know. And believe it or not, I had got this job that I'm teaching at now. I work at TJ Maxx. I work retail as well.
Mhm.
As artists, sometimes it takes a while to get to that point
Absolutely.
where
Yep.
you're doing this full time.
Mhm.
And my coworker actually referred me, and my biggest takeaway from that is that even when you're in a place, it's just a stepping stone. You know that
Right,
this is temporary.
right,
You're still being led to where you need to be.
right.
And so I just thanked her so much. I did the test class, and I'm still hesitant. I'm like, well, however it goes, I'm gonna be fine either way. You know what I'm saying? Because I
Right.
was still so hesitant from my last situation. Ended up going super duper great. So teaching the kids is just so great. I see so much of them in me sometimes. Like, it's
Mhm.
actually sometimes it'd be like, golly, that was me when I was little. Um, but it's just so amazing, like passing on what I've learned all these years to them, finding my teaching style. Even being a teacher, it's like being a parent. Some stuff is trial and
Mhm.
error. You get it right
Right,
sometimes,
right,
sometimes you don't.
right.
And it's just such an honor. Like, I think about my purpose a lot, and I think that art just umbrellas from this bigger purpose of connecting and inspiring others, teaching, nurturing, all of that other stuff. So I'm just super duper grateful. Like, they're growing up with me, essentially. They're
Right,
growing
right,
with
right,
me.
right.
And I
Yep.
just love it. I truly love it.
And they're going to remember a lot of things that you're teaching them too. You know how when you're coming up, you got that favorite
Yes,
teacher or that one or two teachers that you
yes,
don't forget.
yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I'm
I
sure that's
always
definitely you.
right. I always say that teaching is like the second closest thing to parenthood.
Mhm.
Because when we think about everybody that's impacted our lives, impacted our
Mhm.
way of teaching, impacted the way that we do things, it's our parents, like within our household, it's our relatives, and it's our teachers. So it's a big responsibility that I don't take lightly. And it's hard sometimes. Like, it takes a lot of patience. And I'm a very
Right,
patient person.
right.
So for me to say it takes a lot of patience, it takes a lot of patience. But yeah, it's just super amazing teaching. I'm glad that dance, because a lot of people are like, well, did you quit dancing? Da da da. I'm like, no. Sometimes your path just leads you in a different direction. You know
Mhm.
what I'm
Mhm.
saying? And
Mhm.
I feel good to be teaching, to still have dance in my life, but it be different in a way.
So, with writing and spoken word, have you been writing anything lately? Have you had that urge to put anything down in a while?
Yeah, definitely. So I feel like my creative process with writing is a lot slower. I used to have to write every single day because
Mm-hmm.
it's how I dealt with my feelings.
Mm-hmm.
But now that I'm older and I have a lot more self control and I have, some different coping mechanisms, like a big thing is community. Sometimes you just need to talk to somebody. I didn't
Mm-hmm.
necessarily do that when I was younger.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I definitely feel like my writing is taking a shift. I feel like I want to write more positive and uplifting things because a lot of my work when I was younger, it was a little dark, it was a little heavy. I'm gonna always speak my truth,
Right.
always. But I think that now I'm experiencing a lot more joy and happiness. A lot of people will ask me that, like, well, your work is so heavy and so deep, like, do something light, da 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 da. And on my end, people didn't understand that I wasn't there yet. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I just simply was not there yet. You see what I'm saying? But now that I'm there, it's like, okay, now I feel like I want to say different things. I feel like my writing, of course, you get older, you get more mature, it's becoming more refined,
Right.
more fine tuned. But yeah, I definitely have been writing. It's a lot slower now. Um, but I get out what I can every single day. I definitely have plans for more future books, of course. I've also my anniversary of my first book, which is called Through the Eyes of Isolated Beauty. If y'all didn't know, I self-published November of 2020 during COVID,
Right.
crazy times.
Yes, it was.
And I'm approaching the third anniversary of that. So I have a lot of little shows happening, and once I'm done with my actual book anniversary show, I'm going to kind of leave all of that work behind. I may take like one or two pieces with me just because
Mm-hmm.
they're so special to me.
Mm-hmm.
But I just kind of want to leave that part of my life behind. Unless I get super big, I do like some world tour or something. Then we'll pull back out the archives. But I'm excited to just enter a different book, literally.
Absolutely. Now, your book, Isolated Beauty, that's a poem book. That's a poetry book.
Yeah, it's poetry, spoken word, and stream of consciousness. So stream of consciousness is pretty much like a diary entry.
Right.
So I'm sure you
Now,
can imagine being a teenager, what some of
mhm,
those diary entries were like.
absolutely. Absolutely. Definitely. But you have a wonderful tone in your voice. Have you thought about doing a what are they audio book?
Yes.
Like your illustration. I saw one of your videos, I believe, and you were talking in the background of whatever was going on in the video. And I'm
Mhm.
like, damn, she's got a like your voice, you could be a good, you so talented. You could do that too as well, though, like an audio book or an illustration.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Have you thought about
Mhm.
anything like that?
Yeah, I have thought about it. It's just time and money.
Yeah, yeah.
It's just time and money. And also because my first body of work, which is my first book, is a lot heavier. I'm like, dang, do I want to put this into people's ears? You see what I'm saying?
Right.
Um, I would love to. Maybe I do like a 5-year anniversary audiobook or something like that. Ooh, excuse me. Or even I thought about doing like something smaller, like a little baby EP of like the
Mhm.
very pivotal points in the book. But yeah, I definitely would love, especially because we in that fourth quarter of the year, I'm already kind of brainstorming like, okay, what we did this year, like what's next year gonna be like. I would love to introduce like audio tracks, like I would love to do an album one day. And I will. It's just timing.
Absolutely.
But yeah, I definitely have thought about it. A lot of people tell me you should do voiceover work. I got to do a little bit of that in Anthony's classes as well in Atlanta. So yeah, I just feel like a lot of seeds are being planted and nurtured. So yes, long story short, yes.
Now, before we get into some poetry and spoken word, what is it like though being in Atlanta? Because it seems like it's so like it's just so live there right now. The last I don't know how many years. I
Yes,
remember.
yeah.
I ain't gonna lie. I'm 48, and I remember back when I was a teenager how it was all about um, going down there for the Freaknik and all of that type of
Yeah.
stuff. But now it's just like it's so it seems like it's so open and there's so much going on, and there's so much going on of people who look like us.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
What does that feel like, and what is that like?
Yeah, that's definitely a big thing we talk about in classes too, how Atlanta is really becoming like an LA and like a New York.
Right.
It's good to see that we have a space, you know what I'm saying? And I feel like some truth in that is that sometimes going to Atlanta is hard because everybody's so like gamed up, like I'm just trying to get on to the next thing. I'm just trying to, we all hustlers, we all gotta grind, right. But you can tell the intention of it is just like I'm just trying to get mine and da 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 da. It's a lot of that. Right. Another big thing that I've learned, some of my past experiences that I've had recently, you're gonna learn that there's a difference between like true artists who care about the craft, who have integrity, and people who just want to entertain. They just want to be seen. They just want to be heard. There's nothing wrong with that, right? But sometimes as an artist, when you're in that space with those types of people, it's very hard, But yeah, being in Atlanta is beautiful. It's definitely a second home. I be ripping and running up and down the highway so much. I literally have a show there this Sunday. So yes, it's just, like I said, it's just beautiful to finally be able to see ourselves, and it's still a long way to go. Right. Still a long way to go, but progress is being made, and I think that makes me so happy.
That's beautiful. All right, Tarika, let's get into some poetry. I know the people would love to hear some of your work. Okay. Whenever you're ready, whenever you want to spit, whatever you want to say, just go right ahead.
Right. So I mentioned Our Love Story, right? And I got to be a part of a play. It's an original play. First time it's ever been done live, based on this couple named Isaac and Dorothy Jackson. And they've been married for 75 years, and they're from here. They went to Laney. Obviously, it was called Haynes High School back then. And they've just lived this very beautiful love story filled with faith and perseverance. It's not easy. Marriage is not easy. You know what I'm saying? But they stuck it through all the obstacles and all that other stuff. And I got to be the narrator as well as a dancer in the play. And how the play is written, it's like a vignette. So it's like all of these different memories. You know what I'm saying? We're used to exposition, rising action, climax, all of that. But this is just a collection of memories about the couple through these different times in their lives, from being kids to getting married to now being, older in age. So even how the play is written, I actually got to portray Dorothy in some ways, in certain parts of it. So it was super special, like taking on all those roles and just telling the story. And my biggest thing was getting their approval, and they absolutely loved it. I have a picture with them. It's super sweet. They poured so much love and light into me. So another opportunity that we got, shout out to Kiara Iman. She's like my big sister. She was also the director of the play. We got to write in certain scenes. So whether it was poetry or an actual scene or a monologue, we got to contribute to the story. And so this is just a little something that I wrote. I did a collab with Alexis Martin. Shout out to her. We went to high school together as well. It's just been amazing just watching her grow as well, knowing that we came from the same school. And we did this collab piece about love and how it awakens your inner child. And it's just super sweet. So this was my little part that I wrote. And it goes like this. Loving you is blissful. It's just as easy as breathing. And loving you comes natural. Like a flower blooming in the spring, I rise when I'm with you. My thoughts frolic freely, my soul wanders merely. I feel the most safe with you. Oh, what a divine feeling. I twiddle my thumbs and twirl my hair. Ain't no containing this smile. I giggle and blush, I can't get enough. I sure hope this lasts for a while. Like a child, I yearn for you, unabashedly and innocently. Like a child, I can't get enough of you, and all that you awaken in me. Like children, we love limitlessly, unconditionally. And that's the little part that I wrote.
Now, you wrote that just for that?
Yeah, believe it or not, I was having so much trouble. Like, I was like, I just cannot think of anything. I guess because I've been in a single season for a while, you know what I'm saying?
Okay.
And so I just wasn't really feeling that lovey-dovey energy. Like, I was just kind of like,
you can't tell though. You cannot tell through that. That was beautiful.
Right.
Like that.
And so I was like, I texted Alexis. I was like, yo, I don't know if I can come up with something. Da, 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 da. But then the way that life happened, she sent me her part and I read it and it kind of gave me inspo. And then I hung out with somebody that's super like special to me or whatever. Okay, we ain't gonna get even to that. And it's just like I wrote it in under like 10 minutes. It just came out, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, between like reading hers and then being able to spend time with the person I spent time with, it finally just kind of like came together. So I was like, okay, cool. I felt like such a fraud because I knew when this, you know, I'm like, the scene is due tomorrow, like, girl, you know, and it finally just like came out. So
you were like the day before.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah,
wow.
It was literally like the day before. You
right.
know?
Right.
So I read her piece and then I hung out with the guy I hung out with. And I guess all the energy was just like, oh, there it is. So yeah.
Now that the couple, did they hear that poem?
Yeah, we did 2 shows of it at Jesse Norman School of the Arts. If you don't know Jesse Norman, she's from Augusta, super duper famous opera singer, beautiful soprano. And yeah, they were at both shows. We did a Saturday show and a Sunday show, and they were front row. So you can imagine, I honestly wasn't nervous. I was actually super excited. Just when you know you've done your work as an artist, you know what I'm saying? You know, it's just finally time to like show it.
Right.
I wasn't nervous, but also like I just wanted them to love it because they were front row. It's their story. It's real people doing biological work as an artist. It's hard to come by. Number one, everybody doesn't get to do it. And 2, it's one of the hardest things to do. So yeah, that was when I mentioned Ancestral Accents and now Our Love Story. That's been my second biographical piece of work I've done as an artist so far. So yeah, it was super sweet, super special. They are the cutest and they loved it. So yeah.
You said they've been married for 75 years?
75, yeah.
Oh my goodness, that is absolutely beautiful right there.
Right.
That in itself is beautiful. And that poem, though, that was really great. I mean,
thank you.
It just made you feel cozy and warm.
Yeah, definitely.
You know,
even performing it and like getting into those feelings, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, okay, it's still there. I'm not as cold as I thought. Okay.
I feel like poets and spoken word artists who have sort of a background in acting or stage has a slight edge because of putting emotion into it, I believe sometimes.
Yeah.
Some people naturally will have their emotion in whatever they have written, but I feel like a lot of people who've been on stage and who portray different things can really bring forth what they're trying to say in their poetry. You know what I mean? Now, when you're done and when you get off stage, right? What is that like too? Like, do you have all types of feelings going on then? Is it like a what do they call it? Like an endorphin release or something like you know what I mean? Just like, you know, a sometimes drug almost.
Like, right. As of lately, it just feels like, all right, I done did it. All the hard work pay off. I definitely, as of lately, I have felt so much happiness afterwards. I remember even last time we spoke, you know, I was doing shows and things like that. I was not present. I was doing them. I wanted it to be over, you know. But now that I'm in a better place and I've been doing my work, like I started counseling this year. And like I said, I just stayed the course, you know. I think staying the course just it's not a lot of words, but it encompasses a lot of words and feelings. So lately I've just been feeling a lot of happiness. Like I've been super present. I don't take anything for granted. And believe it or not, when we did Our Love Story, before we got to like the shows, I got super nervous. I'm like, I have no idea what I'm gonna do after this, you know, because you're in rehearsal almost every day, at the time, bookings weren't really, nobody was really hitting my line. You know, entrepreneurship, it has its seasons, you know. And so I was like, I have no idea what I'm going to do after that. And as an artist, that's super terrifying.
Yeah.
So, you know, I prayed about it and I was like, God, you know, whatever is for me after this is going to be for me. And lo and behold, I have a lot going on after this stage play. So I'm glad it worked out and so many doors opened for me because of the stage play and because I gave it my all. But yeah, I definitely, lately, I've been feeling a lot of happiness. Of course, it's that sense of relief,
Right.
but because I feel so present in whatever project or whatever show it is, it just definitely feels a lot better because, you know, I knew I loved what I did a few years ago, but it's just like I was just going through something. I'm like, looking back, I should have did it. You know, I just lacked the boundaries to say, hey, I'm not in the mental space to do this right now. I'm struggling right now. But yeah, I definitely feel a lot of happiness. I feel that sense of like job well done. I feel that excitement, like knowing that other doors are going to open up. And also just hearing the audience response, you know what I'm saying? Like knowing what people thought of it, knowing that they took something away from it. That's always my biggest concern, especially with the stage play. I was like, okay, what does Isaac and Dorothy think? Because this is all them, you know. So knowing that they loved it, that was kind of like the step. Like, yes, I did my thing. We did our thing. And even I mentioned this, sort of that detachment, like when you finally perform, it's like it's not yours anymore in a way. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, yes, it's yours. You're in the moment. You're on stage. Da da da. But that detachment, knowing like, okay, I can let this go afterwards. I love that part of it too. Unless you're doing like some type of tour or something, you got like 8-5 shows. Like that's different. But finally being able to be like, okay, here to the audience or here to whoever, it's not mine anymore. I love that as well. So yeah.
So let's do another poem, really. Another poem, whatever you want to do, whatever one of your favorites, whatever you want to say.
All right, so I'm keeping them kind of short tonight, but because I mentioned my first book, Through the Eyes of Isolated Beauty, I'm gonna do one of my favorite pieces called Emergence. This is something that I wrote before I went off to college. That was my first time leaving home, like for a long time. And yeah, I just love this piece. Like, yes, I'm gonna put down the book one things, but this is one of those pieces I'm taking with me as I progress. So here we go. This is Emergence. So this emergence is an emergency. In order for me to grow sufficiently, I have to go. I have to spread my wings and fly away to every accessible unknown place. The sky's the limit. But often I disguise the limit as forbidden territory. I balanced on boundary lines. I was conflicted with how much is too much and not enough, you see. My cocoon became my favorite costume. And I had to undergo metamorphosis deeper than what the eye can see to discover my destiny. I had to take flight despite being scared of heights, these heights, this might, this blinding light. How can one be intimidated by their own potential? Why be fearful when you can be faithful? Why do anything less than what sets your soul on fire? But it will take work. I spent so many restless nights till I was content with my content. I found clarity in every creation and discovered the beauty in isolation. Art was the one thing I knew. The one thing I know would never hurt or leave me. Every stage I stepped foot on, the fire went ablaze. Summoning a glorious cremation of the girl I once was, and I became reincarnated into the star that I was destined to be. Because that emergence was an emergency in order for me to grow sufficiently. And now I no longer suppress and neglect my unquestionable divinity. And that's emergence.
I love it. 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 Oh my goodness, man. That line, okay. How can you be afraid of your own? Oh my goodness. All right. Yeah, that was beautiful, Tarika. So what inspired that? Like what brought that forth for you to write that?
Yeah,
Own potential. Don't be afraid of your own potential. That right there, like that says that that says a lot, especially to me as an artist, as because that's real. Like your potential that you have sometimes can scare the shit out of you.
Yes.
You know what I
Yes.
mean? I know it
That's
does for me.
exactly
For me and my wife, I can speak for her as well because I've seen her go through it where it's nerve-wracking.
Yeah.
But when you're in the moment, you wouldn't know what went on before she came out to do what she did. You wouldn't believe that she was frantic. I'm trying to talk to her to calm her down. We back and forth. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like it's interesting for that. Now, how do you how do you relax though? Because I know you seem like you're always busy. Like, how do you just say, you know what? You know, I'm chilling today. I don't have any goals for today anyway.
Right.
You know what I mean? I don't have anything that I'm doing. Didn't make a list to do anything. Like, how do you relax like that?
That's so funny that you asked that. I'm still learning.
Yeah.
I'm still learning. It's really, really hard. And I'm glad. I feel like this was an accountability check because I got so much going on right now. But one of the biggest things that I do, I don't answer calls if I don't want to that day. I don't answer nobody. Phone on do not disturb. You know what I'm saying? I work retail as well. The biggest thing is that I pour so much, I work retail, that's customer service. I perform, that's a form of pouring. And then I'm a teacher now. So it's just constantly. So I definitely had to be a lot more conscious of filling my cup back up. And I'm gonna be honest, I'm still learning. I don't always get it right. I do not always get it right. But the biggest thing is like disconnecting. Like I'll take some time away from socials. Sometimes it's not a lot of time just because part of my job as an artist is to promote my work and share my work, promote my shows. I love a lot of what relaxing looks like to me is doing nothing. Doing nothing. I catch up on sleep. A lot of what I can't even say that's relaxing. I've been spending a lot of quality time with family. Like I got to see my godmom for the first time. She hasn't seen me since I was like a baby. Wow. So we got to reconnect and it was just so beautiful catching up with her. I'll spend time with my family. Another thing that I picked up on when I was in my darkest season, especially last year, is cooking. I love cooking because I get to do stuff with my hands. I get to be creative, but it's not my art. It's not my job. You see what I'm saying? And it's a form of self-care too, because baby, I gotta eat. Okay. Right. So I'm still learning how to relax. You know what I'm saying? Even sometimes when I'm like, okay, I'm gonna just stay in bed today. I'm on that phone working. I'm on that phone sending emails. Right. Counseling has helped me a lot to have that neutral, like accountability person. Like, hey, what did you do for Tarika today? You know, have you been spending time with yourself? Right. Another thing, and I feel like self-cares are like necessities and non-negotiables versus like I'm choosing to do this. But I've been growing out my hair and like washing my hair and twisting my hair. That has helped me to like decompress and take care of myself and like just love what I see in the mirror. So I have my little ways of relaxing and self-caring, but also I'm still learning.
All right, Tarika, tell us about what you got coming up. How can what are we looking forward to seeing?
Yeah, so this Sunday I will be in Atlanta, Georgia, performing for the Upscale Expressions. Oh Lord, Upscale Expressions is this event to help the homeless in the area. So I'm super duper excited. It's a black tie formal thing. So I'm gonna be pulling up looking fly. Shout out to my mom. She's my stylist. She has been keeping me looking good for all of my shows. And it has truly just made a difference. And it's just, one less thing that I have to worry about. And it's just so special us sharing our gifts with each other, And then I actually have my debut in Virginia that following Sunday in Newport News. Shout out to Creek. I met him back at Arts in the Heart, which is a festival here in Augusta. And he saw me with high school, my poetry club. And he thought that, oh my God, this girl is amazing. It wasn't my poetry club, but you got to stand out. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
He thought I was amazing. And he invited me to do my first show out of Augusta, which was in Warner Robins, Georgia. And now we've been planning this for a few years. It's finally time for me to go to Virginia and do a show. So I'm featuring for that. And I'm super excited. I love traveling so much, and I'm excited to just introduce myself to a completely different group of people. I also have my book anniversary coming up, which is November 11th of this year. And I have a book signing and book reading here in Augusta at the Book Tavern. And also a few little shows in between there leading up to that point. You know, Our Love Story taught me the power of like PR. So, yeah, so a lot of exciting things. Q4 is showing out. It happened so fast. I'm still kind of shook, but I'm super duper grateful and I'm super excited.
Tarika, I'm so happy for you. You definitely are in. Really, I can definitely tell that you're in a great space. You know what I mean, and that makes me feel good. I remember how some of the things that we talked about and some of the things that you shared with me, and now versus then, it's just it's beautiful. It really is, and it's also inspiring. You know, I want to say that too, because it lets us know that, you know, tough times truly don't last long. We just got to be able to endure it and try to get through it. You know what I mean? But as always, you're beautiful. Thank you so much for coming on the show. Please tell us how we can follow you and keep up with you.
Yeah, y'all can find me on all social media platforms at Isolated Beauty. That's IS0 LATEDBEAUTY. Once again, IS0 LATEDBEAUTY. I am on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and TikTok. So yeah, y'all follow me, keep up with me, and it would be so amazing. I really hope you can make it to the Virginia show. I don't know how close or far it is, but I was like, I'll just send it to him. Just
right. Yeah, I appreciate it. I'm gonna definitely try my best, but I with two daughters, Tarika 14 and 11, and just with my wife, like me and her just actually did something over the weekend. It was like a retreat thing. Really, it was for women, but I went with her, and it was absolutely like, that's what made me realize, like, damn, you really need to take a step away just for a minute sometimes, you know what I mean? Because things happen so fast. And that was the first time we actually did something where our girls wasn't with us.
Wow.
You know, hopefully I can get off on that Sunday. I'm definitely going to try.
And it's all good if you can. I know you'd be there if you could. But
if not, my heart is
to you.
Yes, if I can't, my heart is definitely there, really. And just keep doing what you're doing. You really are inspiring, and I love following your work. I'm a fan. I'm a fan. I really am. I'm a fan.
Thank you. Likewise.
Seriously. Absolutely. You stay blessed out here. Keep doing what you're doing, guys. If you want to be blessed, you must bless someone else. All right. Tarika, have a good night. I'll be keeping up with you, sis.
All right. Thank you so much. Y'all have a good night.
All right.
Just wanted to let you know that the host of this show appreciates the time that you've spent with them. Now, don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe to our channel so you can keep up with everything that we're doing. And most of all, thank you for tuning in to What Up Baltimore online radio, where the people have the power.